Next up, we're going to talk about something deeply concerning, but also incredibly important: the dramatic slowdown in foreign direct investment into developing countries. Now, I've been tracking these numbers for, well, let's just say a while. And what the World Bank is reporting now, $435 billion flowing into developing economies last year, the lowest since 2005. That's not a good sign, folks. Not good at all. It's like trying to build a house with half the lumber you need. You might get something up, but it's going to be shaky and probably won't withstand much of a storm.
Wow, that is low. I mean, $435 billion sounds like a lot of money in general, but if it's the lowest since '05, that feels significant. What exactly is foreign direct investment anyway? Just so I understand clearly.
Good question. Think of it this way. It's not just sending aid or loans. It's when a company from one country, say here in the US, actually builds a factory in another country like Vietnam or buys up a significant part of a business there. They're investing directly in that economy, creating jobs, transferring technology. It's supposed to be a real engine for growth, but what we're seeing now is that engine sputtering and stalling. And the report points to three key culprits: rising trade barriers, tariffs, restrictions, all sorts of red tape, geopolitical tensions. It's a mess.
Okay. So, it's like companies are less willing to take risks on building things or buying businesses in other countries because things feel unstable. And the trade barriers make it more difficult even if they wanted to. That makes sense. But what does this really mean for people on the ground? Like specifically in developing nations?
It means a whole lot of bad stuff, unfortunately. The report highlights vast infrastructure gaps unmet. We're talking about schools without classrooms, hospitals lacking equipment, roads that are practically dirt paths, all those basic things you need to build a functioning society. But beyond just the physical stuff, this slowdown is actively eroding efforts to end global poverty. It's harder for people to get jobs, businesses can't expand, and climate investment, which is already woefully underfunded, gets pushed further down the priority list. Look, I remember back in the early 2000s when China was really opening up, the amount of investment pouring into infrastructure there. It was like a dam bursting. It lifted millions out of poverty, fundamentally changed the country. We're seeing the opposite happening now in many places, and that's scary.
That is bleak. So basically, less money going in means fewer opportunities for these countries to develop? But you said advanced economies are still putting money into developing economies, right? Like the US and EU contribute a lot?
They do. About 90% of total FDI in developing economies over the last decade has come from advanced nations, which is good in theory. But even that number is down significantly, the lowest since 1996. It's like everyone's tightening their belts, becoming more inward focused. And honestly, there's a bit of a protectionist vibe going around, America first kind of thinking, but globally. Everyone wants to protect their jobs and businesses, even if it hurts others in the process. It's not smart.
Ah, I see. So, it's almost like everyone is trying to hoard resources instead of sharing them. That sounds counterproductive. What can actually be done about this? Is there a way to reverse this trend? Because it feels like a really big problem.
There absolutely is a way, but it requires bold action on both sides. The World Bank report stresses domestic reforms, making countries more attractive for investment by simplifying regulations, cracking down on corruption, ensuring property rights, stuff like that. But even the best policies can be hamstrung if there's global chaos or trade wars. We need global cooperation. Countries need to work together to tear down those barriers, lower tariffs, streamline investment processes, and really prioritize investments in countries with the greatest needs. Look at it this way: a 10% increase in FDI can boost a developing economy by 0.3% after 3 years. And if they've got strong institutions, lower corruption, and are open to trade, that jump skyrockets to 0.8% exclamation mark. It's an enormous return on investment.
Wow! So it's not just about giving money, but creating the right environment for that money to be effective? And a little bit of cooperation goes a long way. I guess it feels like everyone needs to stop thinking short term and start focusing on long term stability. Because if developing economies fail, everyone eventually suffers.
Exactly. It's about self-interest as much as altruism. A stable global economy benefits everyone. Look, the report also pointed out something interesting. Trade growth has slowed significantly since 2020, and economic uncertainty is higher than it's been in decades. This isn't just some abstract economic problem. It's impacting real people, real economies, real futures.
Hmm. It feels like a really complex issue with a lot of moving parts, but I think I have a much better understanding now. Actually hearing you talk about your experiences back in the early 2000s with China's growth, that paints such a vivid picture and makes it less theoretical. I'm almost tempted to ask about cryptocurrency investments in developing nations as a tangent, but maybe we save that for another day.